I'm on a pretty rough dirt road right now, but I'm trying to get to a campsite.
Hey y'all, my name is Sarah. Welcome to my van. This is Biggie. He is my kitty cat, but he lives at my mom's house. So I'm actually visiting home right now and also reflecting on my journey from the past. Oh, hi Buggy. Yeah, I basically had escaped to a wilderness jungle to retreat from society, essentially, and I also was finding myself in the energy of a new moon at the time. I'm learning the power of story and how important it is implementing it into your own personal life as a way of self-healing. And in order to do this, a little bit of self-reflection needs to occur. And this can be done like in a number of ways, you know, like journaling, talking to a friend, talking to your cat, or venting to a camera. One of the larger tools in my bag is actually using the study of the stars or astrology. And I know it's a little out there, but basically it is just tracking the correlations of the planet's energies within our own personal life. It is a way for me to step back, but like really zoom out, because you're looking pretty far out. I know, Biggie. I know. But yeah, it has given me a little bit of insight into certain lessons and patterns that have been happening in certain chapters of my life. I wanted to take a look at the transit chart that was happening during part of my travels. I'm definitely not fluent in this language, but I do find it fun and engaging to be a student of astrology. So I'm going to break this chart down a little bit with the adjunct of my typical travel vlogs. And maybe it'll encourage you to take a peek into your own story as well. Just prior to getting away from society, I was exploring a pretty artsy city, and it was great to see the culture here and just walk around, really. But unfortunately, during my stay, an intruder tried to get into the van while I was in it. After having an attempted break-in in the van, I cut my trip short, changed up my route, and just left as soon as possible, kind of not knowing exactly where I was going, but I did just drive out of town. I also made a video about it. If you wanted to check it up, I'll link it above. But yeah, moved on past that now, and here we are. This is basically where I found myself after I left the city. I began driving quite a ways until the vibrations of city life dropped away and the mountainous jungle presented itself. When I look back at my chart, I noticed Mars was squaring my natal Pluto. Squares are a harder aspect. They reveal tension, but bring creative challenges. They take us out of our inertia and activate our desire for change. And I was definitely feeling it after the tensions within the city, which sparked my movement towards nature. If I look deeper into it, Mars is action and aggression, and it was strong transiting my first house. Pluto resembles power, transformation, obsession, and it was sitting in my fourth house. This is the house of home, security, so I could see how Mars was activating Pluto and how there was this power struggle within my home setting. Initially, it was an unsettling encounter, having someone try and break into my home in my van. But on the positive side, it did activate and motivate me to basically leave the area and find a peaceful and safer environment. The new moon energy was occurring within my 12th house, the house of transcendence, the otherworldly, dreamy separation from society parts of life. And during my drive through these mountains, I began to feel within the space of a void, a scene change between my last chapter and the next. This blanket of mist and fog brought a sense of absolvement as it continued to roll in, but with the lack of sun, it was beginning to wear out my batteries. The time was near to find a place to recharge both my van and myself.
I'm on a pretty rough dirt road right now, but I'm trying to get to a campsite that I am treating myself to, completely out in the wilderness, no service whatsoever, but there is electric and I can get a hot shower, so it'll be nice after my time in the city. And it's also the new moon, so I'm gonna decompress and ground and enjoy my time off grid.
I find the new moons to be a wonderful time to do any necessary deep cleaning around my home. Just some things to bring healing to your living environment. and it definitely needed to be done. Right now, I'm just cleaning my sprouts. They're pretty much ready to eat. I just take the hulls off, all the excess hulls, by rinsing them, basically giving one last bath. And then I just pull them out of here, and we'll stick them back in the jar where I grew them. Here are the hulls that you discard after cleaning your sprouts. They're no longer useful. But right here, this water is going to be useful for my plants. These guys took about 4 to 5 days to grow. They are good to eat now. I like to, after I fully wash them, I like to put them in the sun for about 10 to 15 minutes. That way they green up a little bit more. And then I'll put these in a container for the fridge and then start a new batch. So I constantly have fresh sprouts. After a number of to-dos checked off my list for taking care of the van, I was really not looking to do anything else but rest, so I took a hot shower, made myself a nice cup of herbal tea to get cozy in bed with my books, and called it an early night. The next morning, I found the energy to get going pretty early, so I fired up the stove. I normally like to eat fruit for breakfast, but today I was feeling the urge to fortify my body with something a little heartier, not surprising as the new moon in Cancer relates to nourishment and the stomach. So I'm rinsing these grapes. One of the tricks I like to do is clean it with baking soda water. So I just have a bowl with water and baking soda and some limes. So this actually adds a nice little taste to the grapes when I clean it with limes. I want to go, there's a little waterfall right next to the campsite that I'm at, so I can get in my snacks ready, my grapes, some dates and cashews. So yeah, I'm gonna go see what that looks like. One transit I've been interested in understanding is this Saturn opposing my natal Jupiter. With Saturn being structure, opposing Jupiter being expansion, and oppositions being known as harder aspects, there can be an internal tug of war where choices need to be made or energies needing to be balanced. The way I interpret my first house, Leo Jupiter, is that I am normally quite optimistic and fiery in nature, but with the opposition from Saturn moving through my seventh house of relationships, things were feeling a bit dampened from life in general, alongside the pressures of a greater pandemic, to stay sedentary. Perhaps the balance that I needed was spending time alone amongst the forest, still growing through exploring, but doing so away from the boundaries of society. Another transit I can't ignore is this approaching conjunction between Mars and Venus. Conjunctions are strong unifying blends of energies. With Mars being the god of war and Venus being the goddess of love and beauty, there could be a harmony of sorts, propelling action towards our desires. And I personally felt it to be a lovely transit because, with them conjoining closer to my natal Jupiter, I think it's what's positively balancing out the Saturnian effects. This integration with the cosmic energy and my opportunity to be so close to nature brings up a quote I really like to think of. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Lao Tzu. Being in nature, it's been really nice. This campsite especially, I kind of don't want to leave. I ended up booking a second night, and yeah, right now I'm gonna go start a fire and then have some dinner. It's a good time to plant some seeds of intentions, but whenever I have a fire, I do like to write little things down on paper and burn it up. Negative thought patterns, negative energies, etc. So, yeah, I'm gonna continue enjoying the rest of my night. So the new moon was in Cancer, a cardinal water sign, and passing through my 12th house. This to me is a symbol of a nurturing and nourishing clearing. Being in a rainforest, camping alongside a stream, hiking to a waterfall, cleansing my home, all involved the water element, which highly encouraged the washing away of the old and a wonderful agent to my reset. I sat by the fire a long while that night, then closed up shop to get another restful sleep.
It's pretty early. I already showered, and now I just need to pack up camp and hit the road. I want to make it to Tennessee, so I gotta get some miles under the van. The moon was trining my natal Pluto, and I feel it was setting the ground to aid in shedding old instinctual patterns, presenting this opportunity for me to choose a new path. And with Pluto being in my 4th house, this relates to leaving behind old familiar structures around the home or even ancestrally. As I reflect now, for years prior to this chapter, I had been a part of a pack for quite some time. A wonderful community within my friends and family, a fun partnership. I was working as a 4th generational housekeeper. Talk about traditional patterns. But at this moment, I had the option to do something different, something that I know I needed in order to get back in touch within. And as I continue to journey on solo, I hope I'll find the space to process all of the things that has been occurring in this little life of mine.